stop scrolling right now, face screaming in fear, because three ordinary-looking pennies have sold for up to $300,000 each. Most people spend these without even thinking twice. The first one looks normal, but it exists because of a mint mistake. Almost all of them were destroyed, and the few that survived are worth more than most houses. The second penny became valuable because of a tiny detail people miss every day. That small detail caused massive demand among collectors, and prices exploded over time. The third one shouldn't exist at all. It was made using the wrong metal, and that mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure treasure. Before you spend old pennies, stop, check them carefully, and never clean them. One small coin could be hiding a $300,000 surprise. Money bag. Coin number one, most people would never look twice at a 1953 D-Wheat penny. It's small, it's common at first glance, and it looks just like thousands of other old pennies people ignore every day. But that's exactly why this coin still surprises collectors. The truth is, some of the most interesting and collectible wheat pennies come from years people underestimate, and the 1953 D is one of them. This penny comes from a time when the United States was firmly entering a new era. The early 1950s were about growth, confidence, and rebuilding after the challenges of the previous decade. These pennies circulated during a period when American cities were expanding, families were growing, and everyday transactions were happening at lightning speed. That heavy circulation is one of the reasons truly nice examples are much harder to find today. The small D mint mark tells us this penny was struck in Denver, where millions of coins were produced to meet demand. On paper, the mintage sounds high, which causes many people to assume the coin has no value. But experienced collectors know better. Survival in good condition matters far more than how many were originally made. Most 1953 D-Wheat pennies were used constantly. They were carried in pockets, dropped on sidewalks, tossed into cash registers, and stored in jars for years. Because of that, wear is extremely common. Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline are usually flat, and the wheat lines on the reverse are often weak or worn down. Finding a coin that still shows strong detail immediately puts it into a different category. Collectors carefully study strike quality on this penny. Some examples were struck sharply, while others came out weaker due to worn dies. A strong strike with clear lettering, crisp wheat ears, and visible detail can dramatically increase collector interest. These small differences separate an average coin from a standout piece. The copper composition of the 1953 D-Wheat penny is another reason collectors enjoy it. By this time, the U.S. Mint had fully returned to its traditional copper alloy after the wartime metal changes of the 1940s. That gives this penny the classic warm color collectors love. Over time, natural aging can produce deep browns, rich reds, and smooth original surfaces that are extremely appealing. Originality is everything with this coin. A naturally aged penny with honest wear is far more desirable than one that has been cleaned or polished. Unfortunately, many people think cleaning improves a coin, when in reality it removes original surfaces that collectors value the most. Once the originality is gone, it can never be restored. Another reason the 1953 D-Wheat penny keeps collectors interested is the possibility of errors and variations. While major errors are uncommon, minor issues like off-center strikes, weak areas, die cracks, or subtle doubling can exist. These details often go unnoticed by non-collectors, but can significantly increase desirability when clearly visible and untouched. The thrill of this penny is the hunt. People still find 1953 D-Wheat pennies in old collections, inherited jars, and mixed rolls of cents. Because so many exist in worn condition, the excitement comes from finding one that stands out. A coin with strong detail, smooth surfaces, and natural color can quickly catch a collector's eye. Demand for wheat pennies has remained strong for decades, and coins from the early 1950s are especially popular because they combine history with accessibility. Beginners can afford them, while experienced collectors chase higher quality examples. That crossover demand helps keep interest steady year after year. The design itself plays a major role in its appeal. Lincoln's portrait is one of the most recognizable images in American coinage, and the wheat ears on the reverse symbolize growth and stability. By the early 1950s, this design had become part of everyday life, making coins from this era feel familiar yet historic at the same time. Every 1953, D-Wheat penny tells a story. It may have been used by groceries, newspapers, or candy. It passed through countless hands during a time when 1 cent still mattered. That connection to everyday life is what gives a coin emotional value beyond just metal and age. As time goes on, fewer original examples survive. Coins are lost, damaged, or altered, slowly shrinking the pool of collectible pieces. This natural reduction is one reason collectors continue to focus on wheat pennies like the 1953 D. What seems common today can become far more desirable in the future as high-quality examples disappear. Collectors who understand this don't rush. They inspect carefully. They look for balance in color, sharpness in detail, and originality in surfaces. They know that even small improvements in condition can separate an average coin from one that commands real attention. The 1953 D-Wheat penny may not shock people at first glance, but that's exactly what makes it dangerous to ignore. History shows that overlooked coins often become sleeper favorites. As interest in classic U.S. coinage continues to grow, solid wheat pennies from the 1950s remain a cornerstone of many collections. Whether you're searching rolls, sorting through family coins, or just checking old change, the 1953 D-Wheat penny deserves a second look. It represents an era, a design, and a piece of American life that will never be repeated. So before you dismiss old pennies as worthless, slow down, check the details, look at the surfaces, respect the history. Because sometimes the coins people overlook today are the ones collectors chase tomorrow, and the 1953 D-Wheat penny is a perfect example of that hidden potential. Coin number 2, stop ignoring old pennies. Because the one you're about to spend could be the biggest mistake you ever make. The 1950 D-Wheat penny looks ordinary, boring, and harmless. That's exactly why people lose valuable ones every single day. Collectors know something most people don't. Coins from this era hide serious potential, and the 1950 D is one of the most underestimated wheat pennies out there. This penny comes from a time when America was exploding with growth. The early 1950s were fast, busy, and money moved constantly. Pennies weren't saved, they were spent hard. That heavy circulation is the reason truly strong examples of the 1950 D-Wheat penny are getting harder and harder to find today. The small D mint mark means this penny came from Denver, where massive quantities were produced to keep up with demand. On paper, that makes people think it's worthless. But collectors don't care how many were made. They care how many survived in good condition. And that's where things change fast. Most 1950 D-Wheat pennies are worn flat. Lincoln's hair is usually smooth, the cheek is weak, and the wheat lines on the back are often barely visible. So when a penny shows sharp detail, clean lettering, and strong wheat ears, collectors immediately pay attention. That's the difference between a penny people ignore and one collectors actually want. Here's where most people mess up. They clean the coin. The moment someone polishes or scrubs a 1950 D-Wheat penny, they destroy what collectors value the most: originality. A naturally aged penny with honest wear is far more valuable than a shiny one that's been altered. Once that surface is gone, it's gone forever. Another reason this penny keeps collectors searching is strike quality. Not all 1950 D pennies were struck the same. Some came out weak, others strong. A strong strike with crisp detail instantly puts a coin into a higher category. That small difference can completely change how desirable the penny is. Errors add even more excitement. While dramatic mistakes are rare, subtle issues like off-center strikes, die cracks, weak areas, or light doubling do exist. Most people don't even notice these things, which is why valuable examples slip through unnoticed all the time. To collectors, these small imperfections can make a huge difference. The copper composition gives this penny its classic look. Over decades, natural aging can create deep browns, smooth surfaces, and rich tones collectors love. Pennies that avoided harsh environments and rough handling stand out immediately. These are the ones collectors compete for. What makes the 1950 D dangerous to ignore is that it sits right in the overlooked zone. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. And that's why people spend it without thinking. But history shows that coins like this Common dates with conditioned scarcity often become sleeper favorites. Collectors hunt these pennies in old rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars. The thrill isn't finding a 1950 D. It's finding one that survived better than the rest. One with clean surfaces, sharp detail, and natural color can instantly become a standout. This penny also represents everyday American life. It was used to buy food, newspapers, and small necessities when 1 cent actually mattered. Every mark tells a story. Every coin passed through countless hands during a time when money moved fast, and nobody thought about saving pennies. As years pass, fewer untouched examples remain. Coins are lost, damaged, cleaned, or melted down by time. That shrinking supply is exactly why collectors keep paying attention to wheat pennies from the early 1950s, especially Denver issues like this one. Beginners love this penny because it's accessible. Experienced collectors love it because high-quality examples are genuinely difficult to find. That combination keeps demand alive year after year. This is how boring coins slowly become important ones. The 1950 D-Wheat penny proves one thing very clearly. Value isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, overlooked, and hiding in plain sight. And the people who take the time to look closely are the ones who win. So before you dump old change, slow down. Look closer. Check the details. Respect the history. Because that small copper coin from 1950 might not just be pocket change. It might be a collector's target hiding right in your hand. Coin number 3 if you think every old penny is worthless. The 1948 wheat penny is exactly the kind of coin that proves you wrong. This is one of those coins people spend without a second thought. Even though collectors know it can be a serious mistake, the danger of the 1948 wheat penny isn't that it's rare. It's that it's overlooked. This penny comes from a turning point in American history. The late 1940s marked a return to normal life after years of sacrifice. Money was moving fast again, and pennies were everywhere. They weren't saved, they weren't protected, and they definitely weren't treated as collectibles. That heavy everyday use is the reason strong examples of the 1948 wheat penny are far harder to find than people realize. By 1948, the U.S. Mint was pushing coins out at full speed to meet demand. Millions of wheat pennies were produced, and that number tricks people into thinking the coin has no value. But collectors don't care how many were made. They care how many survive without being destroyed by circulation. Most 1948 wheat pennies you'll find today are worn down. Lincoln's hair is usually smooth, the cheek lacks detail, and the wheat ears on the reverse often look flat and lifeless. When a coin shows sharp lettering, strong wheat lines, and balanced detail, it instantly stands apart. That's when collectors stop and pay attention. The copper composition gives this penny its classic weight and feel. Over time, natural aging creates deep brown tones and smooth surfaces that collectors love. Coins that avoided moisture, harsh cleaning, and rough handling are in a completely different league from damaged or altered examples. One of the biggest mistakes people make with a 1948 wheat penny is cleaning it. Cleaning destroys originality, and originality is everything. A naturally aged coin with honest wear is far more desirable than a shiny penny that's been scrubbed. Once those original surfaces are gone, the collector value drops immediately. Strike quality also matters more than most people realize. Not every 1948 wheat penny was struck equally. Some show weak areas, while others came out crisp and bold. A strong strike with clear lettering and visible wheat lines can completely change how desirable the coin is. Errors and minor variations add another layer of excitement. While major errors are uncommon, small details like die cracks, off-center strikes, or light doubling can exist. These often slip past non-collectors, but they catch the eye of experienced ones instantly. These subtle differences are part of what keeps collectors searching. The reason the 1948 wheat penny continues to attract attention is its position in the series. It sits right after the wartime years and before major design changes. That places it in a sweet spot for collectors who want history without going too far back in time. This penny also connects directly to everyday American life. It was used when 1 cent still mattered, when people counted change carefully and pennies had real purchasing power. Each coin carries the marks of countless transactions, making it a small but powerful piece of history. Collectors today search for these pennies in old rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars. Finding a 1948 wheat penny isn't hard. Finding one with strong detail, clean surfaces, and natural color is where the real challenge begins. As the years go by, fewer untouched examples remain. Coins are lost, damaged, or permanently altered. That shrinking supply is exactly why collectors continue to focus on wheat pennies like the 1948. What feels common now can become surprisingly scarce in the future. This penny proves an important rule of coin collecting. Value often hides in condition, not age alone. The difference between an average coin and a standout example can be dramatic, even when they share the same date. The 1948 wheat penny doesn't scream for attention. It waits quietly to be overlooked, and that's why people keep losing valuable examples without realizing it. Coins like this reward patience, knowledge, and careful inspection. So before you toss old change aside, stop and look closer. Check the details. Respect the surfaces. Understand the history. Because the 1948 wheat penny isn't just old copper. It's a sleeper coin that continues to surprise people who take the time to notice it.